It's Ron Paul. Hi, everybody. Smudgy Gay. I'm actually too young to have seen My Favorite Martian when it was on television. We didn't have it in the 70s because it was in black and white. And it was on before I was watching television or maybe even born. Might have been there, but like an infant. But I do remember a show called My Favorite Martians, which was the Saturday morning spin-off of My Favorite Martian. And it had a cartoon version of Ray Walston and Bill Bixby. And they had sons in it. I think Bill Bixby had a son, too. I know that Ray Walston had like a younger Martian. I don't remember if it was his son or his nephew or whatever, or his Rand Paul. But it was, he had only one antenna instead of two antennae. See Ron Paul's antenna? So anyway, I was really, really angry. Like really, really angry. I'm very, very angry about this Ron Paul situation. And I did a vlog about it, and as Jamie Lee Curtis said in Perfect, I got pretty vocal about it. And I thought it was a little angry, and I don't think people need to necessarily hear that from me. I think angry tweets are lovely, but, you know, I sounded a little grating, a little kind of Ron Paul-like, so I thought I'd tone it down. How much do I appreciate Kyle Raccio, my favorite online activist friend. Kyle and I have been talking about what's exploded all over the pages of the news blogs and talk radio today. We have been postulating this for over a month at least. I think it's been since January we've been postulating this, that Ron Paul is working in cahoots with Mitt Romney. I think Kyle was the one who broke it. I don't remember if he broke it on his show or if he told me and I talked about it on the blog on my show. Or if he told me about it and I talked about it on the blog, I don't remember. But I do remember Kyle talking about this some time ago. That kid is a better news source than the Associated Press. I'm telling you. I'm good too, aren't I? Hello. I find a lot of great articles, and Kyle finds some incredible stuff. Now, I had heard a story a little different than it turned out. What I was hearing from some of my contacts was that they were suspecting that Ron Paul was doing this, again for Rand Paul, but that he was doing this for a juicy speech at the convention, possibly the keynote. And of course, most of you remember that Barack Obama's launch was at the keynote at the Democrat convention in 2004. He seemed to float on the floor, Democrat convention 2004. So threw away my Kerry sign. That's Obama girl. It's Obama girl, sweetie. And so they were trying to, my impression that I was hearing was that they were trying for a similar situation with Rand, and that it was kind of deal where Ron Paul had started this this campaign, but basically he had compromised with Romney, and had been kind of bought off with the opportunity to give Rand a big speech at the convention. But now the British press, of course we couldn't count on the American press now, could we? The British press has found evidence that there is indeed a deal that's gone through, and Rand Paul's response was, I would be honored to be Mitt Romney's vice president. Now, that's problematic. Even if it were in jest, I'm sure Steve Politic, hello Steve Politic, would say, that was like totally a joke. Even if it were in jest, it doesn't really make much sense. And when you look at the evidence piling up, who would want to be the vice president of the opposition of your own father in a political race? Can you imagine one of Romney's kids saying that they'd be honored to be Newt Gingrich's vice president? I think that Rand Paul is like the Martian on My Favorite Martians, the son of the Martian, and I think he only has one antenna. Because that was a real neophyte. That was a real neophyte move. You know, and I talked to I've been terrified about the Romney people being reprogrammed, the Ron Paul people being reprogrammed into being Romney supporters. It's the worst of both worlds. A robotic Ron Paul, a lot of R's here, bear with me. A robotic Ron Paul supporter reprogrammed to being a Mitt Romney supporter. There, I said it. Terrifying to think about. Well, you know, I have a Paul bot, as they're affectionately known. In my acquaintance, the Fag Stag is a Paul bot, as longtime listeners know. I had dinner with him tonight, and I told him about some of this. He goes, "Oh, I think it makes wonderful sense. Dr. Paul was brilliant to do that. It is politics, after all." Yeah, it's politics as defined by Rod Blagojevich. That's the kind of politics this is. Maybe in Chicago, this is the kind of politics that you're talking about. So now we're left with a couple of realities, that Ron Paul is not anti-establishment, that he is an establishment attack dog. Look at the history. I alluded to this before, but look at the history. Iowa, Newt Gingrich is peaking, is on top. Mitt Romney attacks Gingrich, but then so does someone else. Ron Paul starts attacking Newt Gingrich as well. So he's getting it from both sides. Then, I mean, he's done this every step of the way, but then in Michigan again now we see it as well with Santorum. Who's attacking him? Mitt Romney, yes, and also Ron Paul. He did it to Bachmann. He did it to Rick Perry. He did it to Herman Cain. In the debates, he did it to all of the non-Romneys. And he's never done it to Romney. And now you've got his son saying that he'd be honored to be his vice president. You figure it out. You figure it out, and now it's exploded. Of course, it's exploded all over all the news blogs. It's on Daily Caller. It's on all the Breitbart sites. It's on talk radio. Rush Limbaugh opened with it, and Laura Ingraham is. Everybody imaginable is talking about this, and he is an establishment attack dog. Ron Paul is. And there's no legitimacy for his candidacy. His candidacy is nothing but a tool. He is a stalking horse for Mitt Romney. And he needs to leave the race right now. You know, Kyle's always like, why don't people do anything about it? Why don't people ever suggest he leave? The reason why they don't is because his followers, I'm sorry, are kooks. And they're obsessive. They're like Occupy people, and they just deluge people with hate mail and threats and craziness and dogma being robotically repeated like a Charles Manson girl. And nobody wants to deal with them, so everybody humors them. They're like Scientologists. I'm sorry, how many people can I alienate in one blog? They're like Scientologists. They're Manson girls, and no one wants to bother them. Everyone's just like, just ignore them. That's the unspoken thing about Ron Paul. But Ron Paul is no longer being the conservative question mark answer to Dennis Kucinich. He's doing something else now. And it's not appropriate. When Ron Paul called Rick Santorum a fake last night, I just about died. Because it was projection. Ron Paul is the fake. He tries to come on like he's some champion for Tea Party. Meanwhile, the two candidates who have authentic Tea Party support, Rick Santorum and Newt Gingrich, my candidate, he's done nothing but try to destroy. and he's propping up the establishment candidate for the sake of his own son's political future. Mama Rose, sing out Louise, stage mother. No. Ron Paul has been exposed as just another politician. Small G Gay. Out of time. Talk to y'all soon.